everyone. My name is Maxine Hartraff. I'm the Senior Director with Consumer Direct. I'll have Shivani give a quick introduction. And we'll get started.
Yeah, and Kate is on the line as well. Hey, everybody. My name is Shivani. I'm a Senior Director with A&M, and we've been working with BDD quite closely on this as well. We have and others from DHS and BDD. We're super excited to have this virtual session today. We've been going across the state to various cities in South Dakota and meeting with families, and in particular, giving Consumer Direct a chance to meet families and vice versa. So we'll kick it back to the Consumer Direct team. But thanks everybody for participating, and we'll record this presentation, and we'll plan to have it uploaded for later as well. So for those who are listening to this as a replay, thank you for tuning in as well.
And then do you see the two people in the waiting room? Are you able to admit them? Okay. All right, great. A little bit about today's presentation. We'll do a quick introduction for Consumer Direct South Dakota, and we'll talk about the transition, the enrollment process, some time entry, what that looks like once participants and employees are through the enrollment process, and then we'll touch on the payroll schedule towards the end. There will be time for questions and answers, but feel free to enter questions into the chat as they come up. I've also got the Menti QR code here as well, which I'll leave up on the screen for a minute or so. Feel free to ask questions anonymously through Menti. All right. I'm going to go ahead and switch the slide. So again, we're Consumer Direct South Dakota. We're super excited to be here working with families throughout South Dakota. It's been rare today. Our mission is to provide care and support to people in their homes and communities. Our vision is to help people live the life they want, and our values are respect, integrity, service, and excellence. We're the largest, most experienced provider for self-directed services throughout the nation. And specifically in South Dakota, we do have an office in Sioux Falls, which you're welcome to visit at any point, Monday through Friday during business hours. We also have remote staff throughout the state as well. So we currently have remote program coordinators in Rapid City, Aberdeen, Brookings, and Watertown. And we are offering in-person support remotely through those program coordinators. So again, if you need additional assistance after this webinar, we're happy to connect with you to set up a time to meet in person, either at our office in Sioux Falls or throughout the state remotely with one of our program coordinators in those locations. Nationally, Consumer Direct has been around for about 30 years. We're serving in 14 states, roughly 94,000 participants. And again, we're super excited to add South Dakota into our network. I want to touch a little bit on the enrollment information. Everyone at this point is probably at a different point in the enrollment process, so I'm going to go through everything kind of from start to finish. On my screen, you'll see the enrollment timeline, which we've shared in a couple webinars prior to this. We began a pilot July 15th. We started enrolling everyone the week of July 22nd. And our team over the last couple weeks has been making outbound calls to participants to verify email addresses and phone numbers. And we've been sending out those DocuSign packets as we've been able to get a hold of everyone. So hopefully at this point, you've been able to connect with Consumer Direct on the phone to verify your email address and have received your enrollment packet. We're kind of in crunch time right now. So you'll see added to this timeline in the red at the bottom, the best way to make sure that there's no interruption of services is to have your DocuSign packets completed by August 16th, which I believe is this Friday. If you have not received a packet or you have not connected with Consumer Direct, please give us a call as soon as possible. We've been trying to get a hold of you. We believe we've made outbound calls to everyone on our list, but if we had bad contact information or you got a new number or something like that, we may not have connected. So please, if you do not have your packet, reach out to us and we'll get one sent to you and your employees as soon as possible. And if you've already received your packet, the goal is to have those packets completed by August 16th for both participants and employees. And then moving on in the timeline, the last date of service with LifeQuest will be August 24th. And then employees and participants will start claiming services with Consumer Direct South Dakota on August 25th. So that'll be the first date of service with Consumer Direct. And then last payday with LifeQuest, so that this pays out your time through August 24th with LifeQuest. That'll be on September 6th. And then the first payday with Consumer Direct is going to be September 20th. We'll talk more about our payroll calendar towards the end of the presentation. So again, kind of just to recap the important highlights. Your services, if you're with LifeQuest, will transition to Consumer Direct South Dakota on August 25th. It is super important that each participant or designated representative and each employee complete their DocuSign packet as soon as possible. Again, we've been working to connect with everyone. Please call us. The numbers at the bottom of the screen here, that's 888-535-2010, and we're happy to work with you to get your enrollment packet out. After this presentation as well, if you want to put in the chat your email address, we can reach out to you and make a phone call right after this presentation to work with you one-on-one if you have questions about your enrollment packet or you haven't received one. We have staff here ready to make those phone calls right after this webinar. Same thing for employees. We need them to complete their DocuSign packets as soon as possible as well. After the employee completes their portion of the packet, it goes to the participant. So the employee packets become kind of a two-step process. So not only does the employee need to fill out their portion, but the participant or the designated rep also needs to complete their portion as well. And then finally, once both of those portions are done, Consumer Direct has to run a background check on the employees as well. So that's why we're trying to get everything by the 16th, so we have time to run those background checks and get the results back in time for services to start August 25th. This is just a snippet of what those DocuSign enrollment packets look like when they come to you via email. It comes from DocuSign via Consumer Direct is the sender. And once you receive this email, you'll click Review Documents, and it'll open up your DocuSign packet for you to start completing the information. It'll, pre-fill your name, and you'll be able. It'll prompt you to fill in the spaces that are required. So hopefully nothing is missed, and then it gets sent back to us for processing once you've completed it. I'll show our website at the end of the presentation just to show some training materials we have available. We have a couple tutorials that walk you through the DocuSign packet process, and then we'll also have some time entry training materials as well posted there, and I'll show that towards the end. After the packets are submitted, so starting this week, once we've received the packet and we've completed the background checks and can see that it's fully complete, Consumer Direct will send out what's called an OK to Work email, and that email includes instructions on how to activate your directmycare.com portal account. And we'll go into time entry next, but let me hop over here. There are 3 methods for submitting time with Consumer Direct. There's a mobile application called CareAttend. This is the most efficient and fastest way to get paid. And we also have the interactive voice response system, or IVR, and that's essentially you call in from the participant's cell phone or landline and clock in at the beginning of the shift and clock out at the end of the shift. And then we also have the directmycare.com web portal. I'd like to point out that personal care services are required to be electronic visit verification, or EVV compliant. And the 2 methods for time entry that are EVV compliant are the mobile application, so CareAttend, or that interactive voice response, or also called IVR system. So if you're authorized for personal care services, you need to be using the mobile app or the IVR system. Companion care, respite, and supported employment have a little more flexibility where you can use that directmycare.com web portal. But we actually encourage, regardless of what service you're using, we encourage you to use the mobile application because it's just the easiest, least time-consuming method for time entry. And we'll kind of show you what that looks like here in a little bit. So that OK to Work, once you receive that email, the first instructions in that OK to Work are activating your directmycare.com account. So both participants or the designated representative and employees need to start by activating and signing in to directmycare.com. Consumer Direct registers you for your account. So the account is created once you complete your packet. And you're just basically going in and using the forgot password functionality to reset the password to one that makes sense for you. And these instructions will all be in that OK to Work email. They'll also be posted to our website. You'll have several different ways to reference these instructions at a later time. But I'll go through it quickly now just so you can kind of know what to expect. That directmycare.com web portal, when you go to the home page, there's going to be an option to sign in or register. And it's super important that you're clicking sign in, because like I mentioned, we already register you when you complete your packet. You're clicking that sign in button to start the process. And then you're clicking forgot password and sending a verification code to your email address. So the email address you should enter here is the one that we would have sent your DocuSign packet to. It needs to match the one we have on file. And that email address essentially becomes your username for all of our systems. So you enter your email address as the username, you send that verification code to your email. It comes through on the right here where it says verify your email address. That's a screenshot of what that email looks like when it comes through with the verification code. You're going to grab that 6-digit code in red here in the red box, and you're going to enter it back into the directmycare.com forgot password screen and verify the code. Once you verify the code and click continue, you will be redirected to the directmycare.com password reset screen. So at this point, you're creating a new password that you'll remember. The password has to contain 8 characters, lowercase and uppercase letters, 1 numeric character, 1 special character, kind of the norm nowadays. You reset your password, and once you're finished, you will be logged in to directmycare.com. The very first, oh, go ahead.
Can I pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
I got a question in the Menti and in the chat. Is this meeting only for LifeQuest and new FS360 members? So yes, these instructions are specific to people who are with LifeQuest and who are new to FS360. But if you are with one of the other agency with choice providers, all of these same instructions will be applicable to you over the next couple of months as well. We'll just be providing specific guidance and dates and timelines to you separately. But right now, this is just for LifeQuest and new FS360.
Okay. Is that one question?
Just that one.
Okay.
And then Moira did also send in a comment. Hi, I'm an employee providing respite and companion previously with LifeScape. Do not believe I've received a packet. I think Moira, the response to this one, if you're with LifeScape, you would not have received that one. Yep. And then Jennifer, you said have trouble hearing what she said. I can repeat that. Is this better? Jennifer?
I think that, Shivani, you're just a little bit quieter. Maybe you sit closer to the, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we've just got a small phone amongst all of us, so if you can hear me now, great. So for the question about LifeQuest and families that are new to FS360, is this presentation specific to them? Yes, this presentation is. However, if you are with one of the other agency with choice vendors and your transition period hasn't started yet, all these same instructions will be applicable to you, just not starting now. So you can still listen in, understand the process, but we won't have specific steps for you to take yet.
Great. All right, we'll pause for questions as we go, but I'll keep going here. Once you reset your password, you do have to verify the last 4 digits of your social security number and click continue. And that's kind of the final step to get activated in directmycare.com. I know this may seem like a lot of steps, but once you kind of get in, it's very intuitive, and you only have to do this setup 1 time. So the very first time that you're logging in and getting your account activated and ready to go, all of those steps are just a one-time deal. Once you're in, you'll have your username, which is your email address, and your password that you created throughout this process, and you'll be able to log into both the Care 10 mobile app and directmycare.com web portal. Now I'd like to talk through the Care10 mobile app in a little more detail, just so you can kind of see what to expect. After the employee creates their account or activates their account and creates their password with directmycare.com, the next step is for them to download the Care10 mobile application. Only the employee will download the Care10 mobile app, not the participant or the designated rep. The employee really drives that clock in and clock out process through the mobile app, and the participant or the designated rep can either sign at the end of the shift or approve on directmycare.com. After the Care10 mobile app has been downloaded, at that point the employee can sign in and they'll use that same login, as I mentioned, the email address and password that was created in DirectMyCare. They'll use that same login for the mobile application. These are quick instructions on how to download the Care10 app. So we have instructions for Android and iOS or Apple devices. This is just a quick snippet of what it might look like on an Android phone. You're just going to go to your Google Play Store and you're going to search for the app Care10 and download it like you would any other application on your device. Same for iOS or Apple. You'll go to the Apple App Store and download the Care10 app here as well. You can see the icon is the logo of Care10 if you're looking. And again, these instructions will be provided in that OK to Work email, and we have several job aids and videos on our website that will help you through this process as well. After the mobile app is downloaded, there are a couple initial setup steps that need to happen. And again, just the first time you log in, you're having to do some extra steps to just configure the mobile application to be able to clock in and out. You won't have to do this every single time, just that very first time. But when you download the application and sign in, it will give you a few options for sign-in method. You're going to want to find consumer, 4 different options that populate. You just want to make sure you're selecting consumer direct care network. And then that's where you're signing in with your email address and password from the directmycare.com activation. After you log on, it will ask you to create a passcode that's 6 digits. Alternatively, if your device supports the face unlock or the fingerprint features, it'll, if you want to enable that for the app, you can do that too. So instead of having to log in with your username and password every time, it'll use your Face ID or your thumbprint to get you in if that's enabled on your phone. Otherwise, there's a 6-digit passcode as well that can get you in. And then finally, the last step in getting the mobile app set up is to allow GPS or for the location services. So part of electronic visit verification as required in the federal regulation is that at the time of clock in and the time of clock out, the app will collect the geo coordinates when you're clocking in and clocking out. We do get a lot of questions. The app is not tracking you throughout the shift. It's not tracking you at all, ever. It's just capturing data coordinates at the time you clock in and the time you clock out, and then that data gets sent, with the claims data up to the state. It'll also ask you questions about a safe battery screen. You'll want to allow motion access. And then finally, after you get through those steps, you'll see a Get Started button, and you'll click that. And you will be fully into the Care10 app. Again, all of those steps are a one-time thing. You just have to do it the very first time you download the app. But once you're in, and you should be able to start clocking in and out. And then the exciting thing, and kind of the reason why we want your packets as soon as possible so that you're able to start getting prepared with the mobile app and DirectMyCare, is you have the ability to do test shifts in both Care10 and DirectMyCare through August 25th. So next week, if you want to practice clocking in and clocking out, we know this is new. We feel like practicing is a really good idea. So there's a service code in the app or DirectMyCare called Test, and you'll be able to go in and see what it's like to clock in and clock out. And if you want to practice adjusting a shift, you can do all of that through the test shift scenario after you activate your account. And on the opposite end, participants and designated reps can also see what it looks like to approve a test shift as well, to log into the DirectMyCare portal and approve the shift. So it's good to practice the process from start to finish so you're used to it by the time you claim your actual services on August 25th moving forward. These are screenshots. I'd actually love to show a video. It's about 4 minutes long that actually walks through these screenshots, but I'll leave this here for just a minute. These are screenshots of what it looks like to clock in and out using the Care10 mobile app. So you're clicking new shift, you're selecting the participant and the service code, and then you're clicking start shift to clock in. And then same thing for clocking out. You're ending the shift. You're able to see a service detail. It'll also ask you to input tasks, which you'll see in the video. The employee signs, and then it prompts for the participant or the designated rep to sign, and the employee at that point hands the phone to the participant or the designated rep for signature, and then that's the last step to clock out. This is just kind of the last, what I was describing, the last bit of that, where you're getting the participant or the designated rep signature. And I'd like to show that process. Again, the mobile app is the most efficient way to claim time. So I'd like to show this process from start to finish in a video so you're aware of what that looks like. I allowed the sound to share, but if you can't hear the sound, if you could let us know as soon as possible, we can try to get that fixed. But I'm going to go ahead and play this.
This is a demonstration of the Care10 mobile application time entry. To begin, select the Care10 mobile application and log in using the 6-digit passcode. From there, you will see the welcome visit screen that will say nice to see you with the attendant's name. In order to start a new shift, you will need to select new shift at the bottom. From there, if you have more than one participant, please select the participant from the list. And next. The next screen you will see, you will need to select the service if that participant has more than one service. After you have selected the service, the mobile application will prompt you with, are you ready to provide the service you selected with the participant you selected? You will then need to select Start Shift. This is the active shift screen. From this screen, you can see the Cancel button at the upper left to cancel a shift if it was started incorrectly. You will see the participant's name, the service that you are providing, and a running time clock to show how much time has passed. In order to select a task for the shift, please select into the shift details. In this screen, you can select one or more tasks for the service. After you have selected the task and the service has been provided, select End Shift. This is the service summary screen. In the service summary screen, there's the service details. You will see the start time, date, who the service was provided for, what service was provided, and the task selected, along with the end date and time. If an adjustment needs to be made, you need to select Make Adjustments. There is an attestation for adjustments, and you will need to select Enter Adjustments. Today, we are going to adjust the start time. Back an hour using the radial dial. You can also select in the upper part in order to just type the adjustment in. Select OK. Likewise, if you needed to adjust the date, you can select into the date, and a calendar icon is produced and you can change the date. Once you have made all of your adjustments, select Next. You will need to provide a reason for the adjustment and save changes. Care Attend will note then what has been adjusted. I adjusted the start time, so the wrench icon is next to the start time, along with a little attestation that says adjustments were made to the original recorded times. You will then see a total time icon, and it is adjusted with the adjusted times. In order to end the shift, you will need to sign. Click Sign. The attestation is then brought up, and the caregiver will need to sign in real time. Click Accept and move on to the client signature. Scroll down. The client attestation is then produced. They will need to tap here to sign and sign in real time. Once they have finished signing, they will need to select Submit. The shift has been submitted successfully. You can then return home.
A couple things I want to point out about the video. She goes through time adjustment in that video, which you only have to do if there was a mistake in the shift. So if there's no adjusting needed, it's a 30-second process when you clock in and perhaps a 30-second process when you clock out. The reason that the mobile app is the most efficient way to clock in and out is it's capturing the employee signature at the time of clock out, and hopefully it's also collecting the participant or the designated rep signature at the end of clock out. And then that's all the approval that's needed to get that shift paid. So it collects everything it needs. It'll come through the system to be paid. The other thing I want to point out is she didn't talk through it, but when the participant or the designated rep goes to sign, there's also a button that says unable to get participant signature. So if the signature is unable to be like you can't get it from the participant or the DR at the end of the shift, you can skip the signature to get the shift processed. However, that requires that the participant or the designated rep log on to directmycare.com after the fact to approve that shift. So a couple different ways to get your time into the system there too. The other way to get the time into the system, and this is a non-EVV compliant method, is to actually enter your time into the directmycare.com portal. So this is the home page that you're seeing here. The employee would click the sign in button and use the same email address and password that we've talked about creating and that you use for the Care Attend portal. Once you log in, this is what the dashboard looks like. So if the employee had any outstanding shifts that had not yet been approved by the participant or the designated representative, they would be listed in this middle section under My Outstanding Time Entries. Any connected participants would show on the right here. And then the big button, I guess, in the directmycare.com portal is this time entry button. That's where you'll actually go, the green one in the middle here. That's where you actually go to enter shifts, correct shifts, review your time. If you claim something in the Care Attend app, that shift will show up in directmycare.com. So you can see what you've claimed and what you can expect to be paid for. Also, employees can access their pay stubs and W-2s through directmycare.com as well. After clicking that time entry button, this is kind of an example of what you might see in there. So if you have multiple participants, you'll select what participant you want to review. It defaults to show the last 2 weeks of time, and you can see any shifts that have been claimed with each participant. And then toggle, kind of on the right here, you'll see the calendar dates. You can toggle back in time as far as you need to see historic shift data or payroll data. And then finally, you can actually enter a shift. So if you forgot to clock in and out, or it's a non-EVV compliant service like companion care or respite, you can double click in here at any point to add a shift or correct one that hasn't been paid yet. So the employee would double click into the calendar date. A pop-up comes up on the right side, which is what you're seeing in the gray box here. And you're able to select the service code, whatever tasks are applicable, the service date, and the time worked. Here in South Dakota, you'll actually see a time in and a time out under time worked. So you'll put the clock in time and the clock out time. And then you'll be able to submit that shift. If a shift is submitted in directmycare.com by the employee, the participant or the designated rep is required to also log in on the back end, or well, on their end, to directmycare.com to approve those shifts. And we'll talk about the approval timelines. We got a lot of questions this week, like, does it have to be daily or can it be at the end of the week? And the answer is that the time can be entered and approved, we hope at least on a weekly basis. So if an employee wants to go in and claim a week's worth of time and then have their participant or designated rep log in to approve it on a weekly basis, that would be fine. The screenshot here is what it looks like once a shift is claimed. So this is an example of a 7-hour test shift claimed on Wednesday, September 29th. So you can see the total at the bottom for the day and what was claimed. There's a legend in Direct My Care. You can see various status on shifts in Direct My Care. So you can see once it's been entered, you can see when it's been approved for that participant. You can see if it's fully ready to be paid. And then also once it actually has been paid, you'll be able to see that it's been paid in here as well. And there's a legend that we have on our, it's in the portal. And then also we have a training job aid that reflects the legend too, that kind of outlines what each of those statuses and little icons mean in Direct My Care. But the information is super transparent. You're able to see everything that you've entered, whether it's through the Care10 mobile app or the portal in Direct My Care. Then I just wanted to go through what it looks like on the participant or the designated rep side when approving a test shift or any shift in general. The screens look almost identical to what the employee sees as far as the dashboard and the time entry screens. But when you log in, the participant or the designated rep will log in using their email address and password. They'll click that time entry button, that green time entry in the middle of the screen. If they have multiple employees, you'll be able to use the drop-down to select each employee as needed. And then that calendar icon that was on the left side of the screen can help you toggle between weeks if you need to go back further. And then test shift approval, you can multi-approve multiple shifts. So once you kind of get in the swing of things with your regular services, if the participant or the designated rep is approving a week's worth of time, you'll be able to multi-select and approve that time. Also, if there is an issue with a shift where something wasn't entered correctly or needs to be fixed, the participant or the designated rep can actually reject those shifts and send it back to the employee for a new shift to be entered or adjustments if needed. It looks, very similar to what the employee sees when you're approving a shift. It'll pop out on the right with this gray box. You can see the time in and time out that the employee has claimed, and then the participant or the designated rep will approve or reject at that point. And then finally, I just wanted to touch on our payroll schedule a little bit. I want to clarify that none of your hours or your usual services will not change due to the transition to Consumer Direct South Dakota. If you have questions about your hours or the services that your family support coordinator has authorized for you, you'll definitely still work with your family support coordinator to clarify those questions. Your wage per hour for the employees stays the same unless you'd like to change it. We can work with you through that. The payroll calendar also stays the same for LifeQuest participants. So the schedule, we happen to match what LifeQuest was already doing. Pay dates will be every other week, bi-weekly on Fridays, and then it's a 14-day pay period. There we go, pay period that gets paid out each check. And then this is a copy of the remainder of the year for our payroll calendar. So you can see first time submission in the red box there starts on August 25th. So week 1 of the first pay period is August 25th to August 31st. And then the goal is that timesheets are when I say timesheets, I mean shifts claimed in Care10 or in directmycare.com are approved and fully in the system to be paid by the Monday of the following week. So that would be September 2nd for week 1. And the second week of that pay period is September 1st through September 7th, with the goal of having all time approved and ready to pay by September 9th. We did get a lot of questions about this too. So the main deadline that you really need to be aware of is the second Monday on the right here where it says timesheet due Monday. Time needs to be entered and approved and all the way through the system by September 9th in order to guarantee payout on September 20th, which is our first paycheck. So that September 9th is like the ultimate deadline. If something was wrong or a shift was missed, September 9th is that ultimate deadline to get it fixed or in the system, whether through Care Attend or Direct My Care, to have it pay out on the 20th. I also like to point out that the paydays reflected here is our standard biweekly payroll, but we also run an off-cycle payroll on the Fridays between these paydays. So especially throughout the transition, we understand this is a big change. If a mistake is made or you happen to miss something and you miss that September 9th deadline, it'll get paid out on the off-cycle Friday, so you don't have to wait a full 2 weeks for your paycheck. So we're trying to be very flexible to make sure you're able to get paid as soon as possible as you're learning our systems and getting used to clocking in and out with us. And the last thing I want to do really quick, I'll put this back up on the screen in just a second. I just wanted to go show you kind of where our training materials are on the website, and that's consumerdirectsd.com. And at the top here, there's a couple of things I just want to note. We have forms here, which is mostly payroll related forms. So if you needed to update something in relation to the employee's pay, that's mostly what you'll find here. A wage memo is how you change an employee's pay rate after we've already processed a DocuSign packet. If you want to update something, the wage memo can be found here. Our payroll calendar is found here as well. And then the pay selection form, if a bank account changes or you want to switch over to our Wisely card, you can always update, the employees can always update how they want to receive their pay using the pay selection form at any time. A standalone I-9, if there were mistakes that need to be corrected, can be found here. And then all of your tax-related withholding documents are found here too, and you can update your tax withholdings at any time. So we have the federal W-4, and then if you live in one of the states outside of South Dakota, we have those state-specific W-4s here as well, so you can grab one of those to be in compliance with your state income taxes. Also on our website, the training materials up at the top here. We've got training materials for the enrollment packets. These are tutorials, how to get through them, both for the participant and designated rep and the employee, and then how to complete the Form I-9. If you have specific questions about that I-9 document, this is the training document you're gonna want to reference when you're completing that part of the packet. And then furthermore, what we discussed today, there's way more training materials and detail on the account activation for Direct My Care. So we have a nice little video and some job aids here. And then also the Care Attend mobile app and directmycare.com. Okay.
I was just going to say, if you show the event calendar or a webinar.
Yeah, and then the last thing I want to show under resources is our events calendar. Over the next several weeks, we're doing webinars not only to help through the enrollment or DocuSign process, but we also have time entry webinars to help with time entry. And we will, if you have specific questions or problems, we can kick you into breakout rooms during those calls to help work with you one-on-one. We also have office hours, same kind of thing. If you join during our office hours, we can get you with an individual to work one-on-one for any specific issues that you may have. But all the information on those office hours and webinars, both for enrollments and for time entry, can be found under the events calendar under resources on our website.
I-9. If folks are verifying I-9, one thing that we're seeing, and that what Maxine showed, where there is the instructions on how to complete an I-9, one of the major things that we're seeing is people are forgetting to put, or don't understand to put in the expiration date and the document numbers. And what we mean by that is if I select my social security number or card for verification, you have to put in the social security number. That's really hanging people up, or an expiration on your passport or your driver's license. So, or verify the I-9, certainly give us a call because we want to process your packet as quickly as possible.
All right, we have roughly 20 minutes or so to help answer, any general questions. And again, if you have questions that are really specific to your case or your enrollment packet, If you want to, give us your either name or email in the chat or through Menti, we can reach out to you right after this meeting and talk through any individual concerns you may have. Will there be a recording of the webinar if the dates and time scheduled do not work to attend? Yes, all of the, and I assume you mean, well, this webinar is recorded, and then the time entry and enrollment webinars are all recorded and posted, both the materials and the actual webinar on our website. Okay.
Any other questions, comments, feedback? Diane just dropped in her email address. Consumer Direct will be in touch shortly. Thank you for dropping that in. If anybody else has specific case-by-case things they'd like to discuss, just drop in the chat, or Ben left the Menti barcode in the chat as well. You can drop it there for an anonymous option. As they come in.
Well, we will hang out here for a little bit just in case someone's typing, just in case any questions come through.
If you don't have a question, you're also welcome to drop them. Okay, it doesn't seem like we're getting any additional questions. Fan will be in touch, Consumer Direct will be in touch with you at that email address. Otherwise, thanks everybody for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.